Hey guys, Dr. Justin Marcagiani here. Today's video, we're going to be talking about how to improve your hair and make it thicker. We'll talk about some of the root things that you can do to help improve that. Before we do, please smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe so you get access to more video content like this and access to some of the live videos so you can chime in here and chat with me. Put your comments down below. Really excited to read your comments and what you think about the topic as well. All right, so let's dive in. Hair thickness. What are some of the things you can do to improve your hair quality and help improve and make it thicker? What are some of the things that also make it thinner, make it fall out? So, a couple things out of the gate. Some of these things are going to differ with men and women. Men tend to have more androgens in their body, 10 times or so more. With higher levels of androgens, some of that testosterone is going to go downstream to DHT. And DHT is proven dozens and dozens and dozens of studies on this, maybe even hundreds. DHT over time will miniaturize and shrink the hair follicle. And eventually that hair follicle will start to become translucent and then fall out and not grow back. So DHT does impact blood flow and cause a miniaturization of that hair follicle. It does start to shorten the growth phase, I think the anagen intelligent phase of hair growth. The telogen phase is that resting phase. The anagen is the growth phase, and the catagen is the breakdown phase. And so typically that growth phase is going to shorten, and the resting phase is also going to shorten, and you're going to have that hair shrinking. So DHT will be a thing. So high levels of testosterone, too high. So if you're doing steroids or HRT and it's too high, there's a higher chance that could go downstream and increase DHT. Again, you can look at DHT on in your blood test. Like you can get a DHT serum. The problem is DHT systemically in the body may be different than the scalp. So I think you'd have to go to like a research lab or a university. They would take like little miniature scalp samples and they would test it. But if you have DHT elevated in the serum, then or on the top part of top 10, 20% of the reference range, then you probably have DHT impacting the follicle if you're noticing hair loss. And so out of the gate, if you're seeing DHT on the higher side or you're a little sensitive, the easiest thing out of the gate, there's some data on this. Saw palmetto can be helpful. Again, it's not going to be as effective as like a topical finasteride, something like that, but topical saw palmetto and or saw palmetto from a cold extract, 85%, 90% extract is going to be good. Right around 300 to 400 milligrams is what some of the meta-analyses show to be very effective. And by blocking DHT, you actually can increase testosterone. I've seen 15, 20% increases in testosterone by blocking that DHT flow downstream. And so that can be helpful. Saw palmetto can be helpful to help with the DHT. You can do a topical finasteride. If you do a topical finasteride, try a homeopathic lower dose. So about 0.1 milligrams per 0.1 milligrams per 1 milliliter dropper. That's about 1/10 the normal dose. The normal dose is 1 milligram capsule or tablet. And if you do 0.1 milligrams per serving, which is a serving size is 1 milliliter, that's 1/10 the dose. And if you do it in a liposomal form, it's more likely to stay in the follicle. You're already dealing with 1/10 the dose, and you are doing a liposomal formula, so you have an 80 to 90% chance of keeping it all in the scalp. So if you are going to do a finasteride, you want to do a lower dose out of the gates before you dose up, and you want to do a liposomal formula starting off. That's a better way to do it, just to avoid any side effects, because that medication does have a binding effect of 4 to 5 days. Half-life's like 6 to 8 hours, but the binding of that aromatase enzyme, the 5-alpha reductase enzyme is what causes the testosterone to DHT formation. So it blocks the enzyme, that 5-alpha reductase. Aromatase is the enzyme that takes testosterone back to estrogen, by the way. But 5-alpha reductase gets blocks that DHT from getting converted from testosterone to DHT. And it has about a 5-day binding effect. And so topical lower dose is good. Saw palmetto can be helpful as well. There's a bunch of different mechanisms that you can plug in here. There's some data in the scientific literature and empirically. You can take a onion juice extract. There's some really interesting ones on Etsy where they'll make it organically, or Etsy, if you will, a nice olive oil based onion kind of extract, onion juice extract, and you can topically rub that on your hair. It's going to have more of like a Rogaine type of effect, right? Minoxidil is going to work differently. That's going to be more of a vasodilator growth stimulator. I'm starting off at that. You can start at 2% to 5%. 2% for women, 5% for men. Typically, you can always go a little bit lower if you're more sensitive, right? Start at a 2% solution and move your way up. That's going to increase the hair growth nutrition-wise. Again, it's golden handcuffs. So you come off that 2-3 months later, you're going to start to lose that hair. Same with finasteride, a little bit lower and slower, about 6 months on finasteride, about 2-3 months on Rogaine slash minoxidil. Minoxidil is the active ingredient. Rogaine's the name, brand name, and that will start to, you'll lose that hair. Again, you can use things like onion juice extract and the olive oil. You can also use some of these topicals, and you can use a dermapen is an excellent option to kind of create little channels in the hair follicle, and that gets a lot of these nutrients deeper in. If there's alcohol in some of these things, you want to wait probably 12 hours before you put it on your scalp. If it's just an oil, you're probably okay, because if your channels are open here into the scalp, that can create some inflammation. Let's see here. Next, so we talked about the Rogaine minoxidil. That's helpful, but you got to look at the root. Copper peptides are also helpful too. I'll put a link down below a company that I like, the Asir Customs. That's Jay Campbell's company. Copper peptides is excellent. Jay combines the copper peptides with the C60 essential fatty acid. C60 is a basketball-shaped molecule. It's like a master antioxidant scavenger, and that's kind of working on the oxidative stress oxidative stress mechanism or model, that there's oxidative stress at the hair follicle, and that oxidative stress is impacting the hair growth. So you have like a DHT model, you have a kind of blood flow model what Rogaine is plugging into. You have like a microneedling model where it's plugging into stem cells and blood flow and channeling nutrients into the scalp. And then you have copper peptides, which show to be actually helpful for skin regeneration, stem cells. Some show that copper peptides could also have some DHT blocking effects, which could help improve the hair as well. And the C60 is going to be working on more of that antioxidant scavenging model, that free radical antioxidant model. And so that could be helpful for there as well. Again, anytime you improve blood flow and you improve nutrients and antioxidants, that's going to help provide thicker hair. Now, what's your hair made out of? Hair is made out of keratin. Keratin's a protein. So if you have indigestion, poor digestion with protein, that's going to affect your building blocks to make good, healthy hair. Again, I've seen it anecdotally many, many times. Collagen does help improve hair. So I like collagen gelatin. I like collagen peptides because it's already broken down. It's already well absorbed. I've seen collagen be super helpful with hair growth. So I love collagen. Again, I'll put some links down below to products that I personally use so you guys can see that. Next, I would say overall stress. If you've had a post-viral illness or you're under a lot of adrenal stress, anxious, sleep, you can develop telogen effluvium, which is a systemic hair loss. So male pattern baldness is more androgenic alopecia. That's more like in the Norwood area. So Norwood's like, I think it's Norwood 1 through 7. So it starts off like 1 and 2 is when the hairline here starts to come back and back and back. And then Norwood 3, you start to have the little circle in the back at the vertex of the crown. And then it starts to all connect from here to here, and you lose this centerpiece of hair. That's Norwood 1 through 7. 7 is the totally, that's the, that is the George Costanza look in Seinfeld. All right. And then Norwood 1 is just like, I'm probably like a Norwood 1, 2, probably a 2, just back up a little bit here, probably Norwood 2 for me. And you can get the scale on Google Images to kind of understand it. And so that's going to be more with that androgenic male pattern baldness. And the telogen effluvium will be more like systemic hair loss everywhere, like here, hairs that aren't sensitive to DHT, those start to go. And so again, getting the stress under control is really important. Sometimes with a post-viral illness, it can take 3-6 months plus. I like doing things like NAC and curcumin. Those are very anti-inflammatory. Curcumin does have some DHT modulating effects too. So does reishi. So I like it because if there is any DHT issue there, it can help modulate it, but it is going to help with inflammation and the immune system as well. I like collagen. I like herbs that are going to help modulate stress and cortisol. Ashwagandha is one of them. If you look at Nutrafol, it's one of those hair supplements that are out there. Ashwagandha is one of the prime ingredients in there, and so is curcumin, because I think they're working on a cortisol model as well as a inflammation model as well. So when I look at hair loss or hair thickening, I'm looking at protein and nutrients. I'm looking at increasing blood flow. I'm looking at reducing DHT, especially if you're a guy. I'm looking at natural ways to increase blood flow and stem cells. Think microneedling, and then also another modality you can add in is a laser cap. There's a lot that are out there. Again, the better brands are going to be more expensive. They're going to have more lasers. They're going to have more millijoule energy in there, so it stimulates blood flow. Again, the brand I like is going to be Capillus, and they have different lines in there. Again, you get what you pay for. The higher one that you get is going to have the most lasers and the highest amount of energy in it, and that's going to be beneficial. So hope that helps, guys. And so outside of that, biotin can be helpful too. Again, studies on biotin are mixed. Like, there was benefits with biotin with hair thickness and quality if you were like vegetarian, vegan. Why? Because biotin is an important energy for the hair follicle. Biotin, I think, is B7, by the way. So it's like kind of a pseudo B vitamin. So you can take it at higher levels. And again, like there was one study on menopausal women showing to be a little bit improvement. So you got to just, it may not be the thing, but it's cheap enough. It can't hurt to try it for a few months. Again, when you have hair loss issues, you probably don't want to do one thing at a time because it's a lot of guessing and waiting. And it takes 3 to 4 months to even see hair loss issues. So my general recommendation is use natural things if your hair loss is slow and stable. Use a potential pharmaceutical low dose, microdose with microneedling if it's faster. Faster, hit the brakes on it, and then you can always add in more natural stuff as you go. Again, my bias is towards the natural stuff just because it has less side effects, less issues. And things like post-finasteride syndrome, aren't going to really be a concern if you're doing a topical liposomal finasteride and you start at a microdose of 0.1 milligrams per serving and work your way up. You're probably going to be fine with that. And you can even go every other day on that too. Again, when you start doing a much higher dose, then you have potential issues. Outside of that, I think we hit all the major. Oh, one last thing would be massage. Massage for your hair is great. Again, when you're doing massage, you're like just taking the folds and you're pushing them up. So if this is my hair, my scalp, right? I'm just pinching it. I'm just doing this and I'm holding it and letting it go. Holding it and letting it go. Holding it and letting it go. Or you can stretch. And stretch would be like you can go like this or like this. You can do kind of figure eight circles like that, and then just pinch and hold, pinch and hold, pinch and hold. They have some good scalp massagers on Amazon too. Take a peek at those, but just enough to like basically lift the scalp off the skull and then let it go. And you're just trying to break up any adhesions to improve the blood flow. You don't want to be pulling the hair. So it's all about the scalp. Hope that makes sense. So, and then of course, any gut issues, if you have gut issues that are impairing nutrient absorption, parasites, I've seen lots of hair loss. Anytime you have significant gut stress, that can cause cortisol issues, that can throw hormone issues off, that can impact nutrient absorption. So gut stuff can always connect in with the hair. So there's some topical things you can look at, and then you can also look at more natural things that are internal further away. I would say other topical things that you can do. Pumpkin seed oil can be great. I already mentioned saw palmetto and onion. Castor oil has shown to be helpful with some of the prostaglandin mechanisms. That's another one out there. So there's some other synthetic ones out there. The RU, I think 1788, that's a estrogen blocker. There's another drug that came out, is in phase 1 clinical trials over the last week. I saw some data on that. Also, NAC, there's a couple of studies on NAC being equal to minoxidil. So I think NAC is a phenomenal amino acid to keep in your protocol. I take it 2 grams every day. I have a little bit of a sinus issue. So I'm taking 4 grams right now to help with my sinuses while doing some flushing as well. So I love NAC. I'll put links to products that I personally use. I only recommend products that I have tested to use with myself, my family, and patients. So I'll put links down there. Take a look at it. Let me just go hit some questions, guys. And if you want more support on hair health, hormone health, of course, thyroid could be a problem. There'll be links down below. You can reach out and schedule with myself and colleagues. We're happy to help you and really dive in deep. Again, these aren't things that I theoretically do. These are things I actually do with patients and myself. All right, let me hit you up, guys. Dr. J, I'm currently on a SIBO and leaky gut protocol. I've noticed that when we put oregano on my food, I start getting brain fog, lightheaded, and anxiety symptoms. Any ideas? It could be you're doing some gut killing. There could be enough oregano in there where you're killing some gut bugs and you're having some die-off. It's very possible. That's the only variable. So you may want to get the diet and everything else going and go through my first 3 hours and then get everything going after that. Is it true tocotrienols are a better form of vitamin E than tocopherols? I've heard things about that. I mean, I've heard good things about tocotrienols. Just make sure if you're getting vitamin E, make sure you're getting the whole mix form of tocopherols. Again, unless you have some kind of like a heart issue or serious vascular inflammation, you're probably good with just a good quality brand vitamin E mixed tocopherols is fine. Just make sure it's a good company. Thorne, Myline, Orthomolecular, like these are good companies, right? In the supplement world, people don't know, but when you buy raw material, you can buy the McDonald's quality meat or you can buy the grass-fed organic farming meat. So I work with patients. I buy the highest quality raw material. You can buy the cheap CoQ10 from China. You can buy the really expensive CoQ10 from Germany. There's a whole lineup there. And so you get what you pay for in supplement land. I see products like, in Walgreens that I'm like, okay, wow, they're selling CoQ10 for a cheaper price than if I were to buy 10 pounds of it at bulk. It's like impossible that it's good, right? What if graying and thinning hair? Yeah, so graying, that's going to be oxidative stress. So NAC will be super helpful for graying. And then you can also get some of the C60 oil on there because that's excellent for oxidative stress. It's a super antioxidant. So you could easily get some C60 oil. Um, and you can also do the NAC. That's great. And then a little bit of curcumin is helpful because curcumin also helps with DHT, and it's anti-inflammatory and it's blood thinning as well. Excellent. I got sick with mold and cholesterol, made my hair fall out. The doctor I see is Dr. Barnard. Yeah, okay, got it. I don't want to give any shade to any doctors here, guys. But in general, MSH went lower and how they can get. Yeah. So, like I said, this question was asked to me last time. Just don't go after mold and do significant detoxification if you have not gotten your gut cleaned up and working better. That's a mistake I see a lot of patients do. You're much better off working on your house, getting the mold cleaned out of your home, getting an air filter, doing some sinus flushing, maybe a little bit of natural binders like beetroot powder, activated charcoal, bentonite clay, zeolite. Do those things first. Yeah, John, you're welcome for the NAC tip. That's a good one. Just type in. There's a couple of clinical trials on NAC right now on hair loss. There's some good things going on there. Plus, you get this hydrogen peroxide that forms at the hair follicle, and that can be oxidizing. That can create a lot of oxidation. And then the pseudocatalase enzyme that helps neutralize that hydrogen peroxide, you can help make more of it by getting that NAC and glutathione up. So, hope it helps, guys. All right, have a good one, y'all. Have a great day. Links down below to different products. My staff will put it up in the next day or two, so look back. Maybe tonight or tomorrow it'll be up there. And you guys have a phenomenal day. Talk to you soon.